Quest presents an unabridged recording of Confession to Murder by Robert Mcneill, narrated by David Monteath. Chapter 1. They'd been necking for less than a minute when he felt her tongue in his mouth, beneath his, probing, stroking. Recoiling in disgust, he grasped her throat, placed his thumbs on her larynx and increased pressure until he closed off her airway. She gave a strangled cry, and he squeezed harder. Seconds later, he heard a faint rattle, and the girl slumped lifeless into the seat beside him. Making sure the coast was clear, he exited the car and carried her body to the boot. At the city's outskirts, he found a narrow track leading off a B-road. He stopped after half a mile, dragged her corpse to a grove of trees, and covered it with bracken, then retraced his steps and headed back into town. He'd felt neither guilt nor remorse at the time, but now, more than a week later, he found his actions difficult to come to terms with. Her French kissing might have been the catalyst. It was a practice he found abhorrent. But there'd been something else. Several times in recent months he'd struggled to contain orgasm until after penetration, and that night it had happened again. He'd gained an erection, but the moment she took off her knickers he climaxed in his underpants. What was the quack term? Premature ejaculation. Could this, combined with the unexpected use of her tongue, have pushed him over the edge? He wasn't sure. What had surprised him was the extent of his anger and how quickly it had surfaced. Also unsettling had been a feeling of disassociation, almost as if he'd watched someone else do the deed. He continued walking, one thought uppermost. This detachment, this uncontrolled fury, what were the chances it might re-emerge? It was a disturbing prospect. St. Bridget's Chapel came into view, and he had a further thought. Should he confide in a priest? A lapsed Catholic, he struggled to recall when he'd last been in church. 10 years ago? 20? He racked his brain, and it came back to him. His previous confession had taken place when his mother died, a month after his 18th birthday, 9 years earlier. It had been a relief to unburden his conscience then. He'd agonized over the rift between them, the guilt he had felt when she passed. The confession had removed a weight from his shoulders. What had happened a little over a week ago, however, had been something else.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?